Good afternoon, Tigers. So I have to say, when I first sat down, I whispered over to Commissioner Long that I think it was the first time that I can ever remember I couldn't hear her. The microphone was getting in my ear. Is it as funny the third time? It's always a pleasure to be here, especially to be here with my good friend, the mayor, and future governor of the state of Florida, Bob Buckhorn. I'm especially glad to be here with Mayor Buckhorn. As before we started and got up here, I learned that he was going to ask me to be his lieutenant governor, so I'm very we are at a unique time, I think, here in Tampa Bay and St. Pete and the city of Tampa. And Bob and I have done a number of these things together, and it's really enjoyable talking about how this is a unique time. We're at a time where both of our cities are really thriving, right? They haven't in their history. But we're also at a time when part of the reason I think our cities are thriving as much as they are is because the level of cooperation and friendship and partnership between the city of Tampa and the city of St. Petersburg is unlike any that I don't know that we've ever seen. We recognize that when we are working together, we are that much stronger as a region. That while each of our cities has unique characteristics that make us special, we also know that together we are a force to be reckoned with. And we believe that our region, Tampa Bay, can compete not only with other areas of the state of Florida, but throughout this state and this country. And that's something different than we've seen. And as a result, Mayor and I have taken trips together. There's Santiago de Chile, there's Toronto, to talk about our community, this region, and to work together to try and bring business back here to Tampa Bay. We occasionally have our differences, and I'm sorry about Mayor Greco moving here. But we're happy to have him. He's a great guy. He takes here today. Great guy. But we have a friendship that I will tell you, we've been friends for over 20 years. And we genuinely enjoy working together, and we know that working together, we are strong. And it is an exciting time. There are big things happening in both of our cities. In St. Pete, whether it's here, Graves, recycling, Zoo Police Station coming, or the transformation of downtown Tampa, riverfront area, the explosion of residential that is coming into downtown Tampa, and Mayor Buckhorn is doing a phenomenal job. It is an exciting time to be in Tampa Bay and to be a resident in both of our communities. And so I look forward to your questions, and I am once again honored and pleased to be able to share the stage with you.
One of the folks that didn't get recognized early on is someone who I know is important in your life as well. It's your county administrator, or your great county administrator, Mark Withers. Coincidentally, his wife obviously preceded me. Pam has been running line literally since 1982 or anything, and left me a pretty amazing platform upon which to build. So I am thankful for their friendship and thankful for the stewardship that made her our area administrator during her 8 years as mayor, and she still obviously remains immensely popular. I don't know if Mayor Greco is here in the audience. Dick, are you here? Yeah, we lost the Tampa treasurer. I told Dick the other day, I said, Dick, you know you moved to St. Pete because you got a whole new audience for the same 5 stories you can tell me for the last 30 years. There are rumors that he's been pushing a baby carriage with those 2 poodles down Beach Drive. And I know that is true, and we will enjoy a Tampa legend if you get a chance to meet him. He will regale you with stories unlike anybody I have ever seen before. It's great to see Mayor Fisher. It's good to see you as well. When I was a young man, as the assistant to the mayor working for Sandy Friedman, Dave Fisher was over here, as was Bob Ulrich during the time that Sandy was the mayor, and I got to watch and learn from some pretty amazing public servants, of which Dave Fisher was one of them. So thank you, Dave. It's good to be in the second most exciting city in America. I knew that was going to get this thing started. But I will tell you and echo what truly my friend, in politics, everyone, they say your friends and your colleagues. This is my friend. We have been friends literally for 20 years, and I think what you will see as a result of that is not only two mayors that respect each other, but more importantly, like each other. But two mayors that understand, as Mayor Kreisman said, that we are so much more competitive together as a region. Both of us look at those bridges not as barriers, but as conduits to cooperation. And the opportunity to grow together, to prosper together, to build on each other's successes, to celebrate each other's victories, to be complimentary of the work that both he and I and our city are doing, will only make us more competitive and more successful. And so the days of our regions fighting about Pinellas versus Hillsborough, or Tampa versus St. Pete, or who's a Democrat or who's a Republican, or who's on this team or that team, are over. I am telling you right now, they are over. You will never hear out of Rick or I a statement that would do anything to diminish our future together. Because understand that we are competing with regions around the globe. We're not just competing with Alabama. We are competing in a global economy for intellectual capital. And when I say intellectual capital, I'm talking about those bright young people who can live anywhere in the world that they choose to live. And our ability to grow together and compete together and develop our downtowns together that are complementary of each other. St. Pete has amazing things here that Tampa doesn't have. And we celebrate with you. And we come over here and we spend money. I spend a lot of money on Beach Drive. You ought to see me out there measuring the sidewalk. My kids are, because you guys have done it so well. And it gets a credit to former mayors that have had the vision to do that. Tampa has things that St. Pete doesn't have, but we are absolutely complementary of each other. And I can tell you this, if we grow together, if we succeed together, there is not a region in this country and perhaps around the globe that can be as competitive as we are. We have got it all. We have absolutely got it all. So you're going to see, certainly in the 3.5 years that I have remaining, that theme running throughout everything that we do. We're going to continue to work together. We're going to continue to market the Bay Area together. We're going to, there'll be bumps in the road. I'm sure there'll be some questions about that. But irrespective of that, we're competing as a region and we need to understand that we're going to succeed together. But I'm excited about what our future is. I can tell you in Tampa, there has never been the electricity, there has never been the energy, there has never been the belief that our better days are yet to come. I mean, just imagine what all of us came through, particularly in my city. The worst recession since the Great Depression. Ours was a city that had been knocked to its knees. Ours was a city where there were over 4,000 homes in some state of mortgage foreclosure. Ours was a city that had been bludgeoned by this recession, where friends and neighbors and companies were closing their doors and losing their job. Ours was a city that had been knocked to the mat. And we made a fundamental decision that we weren't going to quit, that we were going to get off that mat, and we were going to get back in that game, and we were going to wipe that blood off our face and straighten out our nose, and we were going to rise together. And look at us now. Look at the Bay Area now. We've created more jobs in 3 out of the last 5 years than any place else in the state of Florida. Certainly Tampa is being recognized as one of the hottest real estate markets in the country, as is St. Petersburg. You look at what Jeff Finnick is about to embark on in Channelside, 23 acres, 40 acres total. That's going to reshape that entire area with a $2 billion investment. You look at the amount of residential that Mayor Kreisman talked about that is coming out of the ground over the next 12 months. You think about the opportunity to move that medical school, that USF medical school, into the downtown Tampa, along with the Heart Institute, creating an economic engine that will drive our urban core for generations to come. You think about that Riverwalk. 6 mayors, 40 years in the making, now open. And if you walk down there, you can literally hear people say, what the hell happened here? When did this occur? We used to think that was a downtown that rolled its sidewalks up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and now it's a downtown that is open 18 hours a day and bustling. You think about what has transpired in our communities. And I will tell you this, in no uncertain terms, that if we do this right, collectively, as a region, there is nothing that can stop us. I think this region will get to that promised land. You all remember when they wrote about Tampa as America's next great city. And we've wandered in the wilderness for a long time, with fits and starts. But I can tell you now that my community, and by extension, the entire Bay Area, is on the verge of something very special. When I ran for this office, when they said I couldn't win, when they said you had lost before, they said you don't stand a chance. I said I understand that. But you don't understand 2 things about me. I don't fear losing, because I felt losing. And I know losing doesn't kill you. But more importantly, I have skin in the game. I've got 2 little girls. Their names are Grace and Colleen Buckhorn. And I am not going to lose those kids to Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're going to build a city that inspires them. Build a city that they can come home to. Build a city where we don't settle for second best. Build a city where we don't ask anybody's permission anymore. Build a city that attracts that intellectual capital from all over the globe and brings the best and the brightest to our communities and keeps them there. Brings a city that can compete with any city in America and any city around the globe. We're not there yet. But we damn sure are working hard to get there. And I think together, with this county commission, and this mayor, and this St. Pete City Council, I think we can achieve anything that we set our minds to. And we will be that place in America that everyone talks about. We will be that city of hope, that city of destiny, that city that our kids don't have to leave to go somewhere else to find a job, because the opportunities are here in the Tampa Bay area, and they are real jobs. They are not service jobs. They are not call center jobs. They are jobs that allow these kids to move into the middle class and beyond. If we do this right, Tigers, we will be that place in America that everyone wants to be. And south of Atlanta, this will be the economic engine that drives the southeast United States. Together we are stronger. Together we are better. Do not let them divide us. Not now, not when he and I are gone, not ever. Thank you. No ringers.
Go ahead, pick your first question.
Are we good? Commissioner Welch.
Testing. All right. Ken Welch. Mayor Buckhorn and Chrysler, thank you for your service. Y'all do an excellent job. I want to give you a promotion. Check 1.
They're going to check it, but go ahead.
Okay. Great job as mayor. I want to give you a promotion to King of the Day. And if you were a king for a day, what would you do? The one thing you do to fix our transportation issues in Tampa Bay.
I think first of all, we have to recognize that we have to connect the Bay Area. That we have to connect downtown St. Pete to the airport and West Shore to downtown Tampa. I think we also need to recognize that we can't build enough roads to get ourselves out of this ditch. We we have got to have mobility options. And those options include bus rapid transit, include HOV lanes, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, they include rail as an option. We, in all likelihood, we hope, will have a referendum in 2016. That is moving forward. That has got to pass in our community. We cannot stick our head in the sands and continue to ignore the fact that our quality of life, the 40 hours that we now spend a year in traffic, that we don't have with our kids, we need to do something about it, and that choice that we will make will determine what our quality of life looks like moving forward.
Let me add two things to that. One of the things that we've talked about, we being some of the big city mayors, is the opportunity to impose the same tax that the county has on the transportation. And to do that, we would need legislative assistance. Because when you look at the referendums that have failed in the past, they've typically done very well in the cities, but it's been outside of the cities where they haven't survived. And so having the authority where Mayor Buckhorn and I can join together and put a plan that connects our two cities together and then bring that to the voters, I think would be a step in the right direction. The second thing, very quickly, and before my time runs out, is we can't build more roads, but we certainly have a lot of water. And so we can definitely connect our cities together with a ferry service.
Harvey, Mayor. I think we found a bad mic. Harvey Landers, this is a question for each of you. The Rays have clearly expressed a desire to move from downtown St. Pete. Each of you, what's the best site specifically that you see?
Well, Harvey, first of all, I disagree with your premise. Because I don't think they've expressed the desire to move from St. Pete. I think what they've expressed the desire to do is, is to determine what location long-term is going to be the most sustainable for them. I have said this consistently. I'll continue to say it consistently. I think the location that they are currently on provides them the greatest opportunity for long-term sustainable success. I say that because not only because of the transportation that surrounds them, the fact that it's city-owned property that can be redeveloped, and the potential redevelopment that could occur there that could bring fans directly to their front door, but the funding that's available in our county with our county commission's help, and the sites that are available on the other side of the bay make it a lot more challenging. So I think, and I'm pretty optimistic that when they're done conducting their search, I think they're going to determine St. Pete's the best place.
Yeah. Good question, Harvey. About that transit. No, listen. Is Bill Foster here? I have been attempting for the last 5 years to be respectful of your relationship and the fact that you had a contract with so many years ago. Although former Mayor Foster used to tell me all the time he would tell groups like this, and I repeat this often because it's so funny. He said, Bob, he said, because I was famously quoted at one point as saying I wasn't going to be the boyfriend in the divorce. To which he referred to me, he said, yeah, but you sure act like the cool guy. Which may have been the only funny thing Bill Foster said for 4 years. But that was a really funny line. Look, first of all, torturous interference is a very real legal concept. And I think Rick would attest to this. I have stayed away from this. I am respectful of your relationship with the Rays. That is a decision that you have to resolve between this city and this mayor and the Rays organization. I'm not done yet. And until that's decided, I'm staying out. I may regret this. Daryl.
Yeah, I'm hoping you do.
So is everyone with the cameras back there, I'm sure.
Both of you are students of politics in the Tampa Bay area, so I'm going to ask you, what do you think about your counterpart in terms of his policies? Do you agree with all of the policies? Counterpart? If so, which one do you agree with the most and why? And if you disagree with one of his policies, which one is it and why do you disagree with it?
I'll take an attempt at this. I think Mayor Pressman and I come out of sort of the same school of intellectual thought. We both have been involved early in our careers in what was referred to as the Democratic Leadership Council, which is centrist Democrats around the country who believe that government has a role, albeit a limited role, and we believe in the power of the free enterprise system and capitalism works to provide most of the growth and job creation. It's not government that does that. One of the things that I have really appreciated about Mayor Pressman and I have really admired, and this has been a lifelong endeavor for him, is his recognition that in a community's diversity, and all of its shades, ethnicities, orientations, and genders, that you were stronger and that you were better. That was not the case previously, and I think Rick has stood up and made it very clear, as I hope I have on our side, that everyone's inherent value is to be respected, irrespective of where you come from, the language that you speak, the gods you worship, or who you love. And so, and other than that, I don't second guess fellow mayors. I think he's doing an amazing job, and I can tell you when he chooses to run for re-election, I'll be right there with him supporting him.
Well, and it's been, for me, it's been really fun watching my friend as he ended up winning his job that no one thought he would win, that he really had wanted for a long time, and for good reason. As Bob said, we grew up with the LCC. We do share those core values of community, opportunity, and responsibility. And it's been really fun watching the transformation along the riverfront and what he's accomplished there, the Lele and the park system. But really, the change that's happening in downtown Tampa and the life that has been breathed into it. So it's not been easy, and I know he has had to fight and scratch and claw to make it happen, but he's passionate. And so I love the passion that I get to watch. And before I ran for this job, this is one of the guys, along with his predecessor, that I reached out to him and asked him strengths and weaknesses when I do this. And as he said, there is no better job in America than the job of the mayor. He's right.
Hi, I'm Trinity Abaki. This is for Mayor Pressman. In the last couple of months, there's been recent shootings of young teens. And as a mayor, what have you recommended and what do you think going forward will stop?
I think Mayor Buckland would agree with this. These are the worst calls and the worst information we can ever hear about is when someone in our community is killed. And our number one job really is public safety. And while I'm proud of the fact that during my time as mayor, we've seen our crime rates go down, one homicide is one too many in our community. So what we've been trying to do is lay the groundwork for long-term solutions that are sustainable. Too oftentimes, government in general does short-term fixes that look real pretty, but they don't solve the problem. And so we've got to address poverty, we've got to address education, we've got to address jobs, but we also have to get guns out of the hands of those who would use them illegally. And as everyone in local government knows, we are extremely frustrated by the fact that our hands have been tied when it comes to any legislation dealing with guns. So we're working on it. We're going to look for ways around the statute that we can put policies in place to address illegal guns.
I know that this is directed to Rick, but I want to recognize somebody in this audience who really has taken a very proactive stance on reducing gun violence and particularly fighting some of these absolutely ludicrous bills that are going through the Florida legislature. Sheriff, up here. Guns have no places on college campuses, in our schools. Nice stuff. Yes, sir.
My name is Gary Stinesky, and this meeting is billed as State of the Day. I have two outstanding mayors that present you for the camp. I want to know what your goal is, your one goal for 2016, what you want to accomplish in 2016 in Tampa and St. Louis.
I'm sure, like most mayors, we have a lot of goals. I think for me, my number one goal is to get Jeff Finnick and USF Med School coming out of the ground, starting it to come to fruition. It's probably a 5-year build-out, but I only have 3.5 more years. I'm firmed out. And so I have a countdown clock in my office. It counts down the days, hours, minutes, and seconds that I have left as the mayor. And so for me, there's a sense of urgency. And that, I think, would be the most transformative thing that our city could do, is to get that project out of the ground, get the med school coming out of the ground, get the Art Institute coming out of the ground. And I think once we do that, we'll create a whole economic cluster in downtown Tampa that will drive our economy for literally decades to come.
Bob's right, there's multiple issues we can cite, but I think for me it's jobs. It's about jobs, creating more jobs. So we talk about crime. If we have jobs, good paying jobs available, you'll see a decrease in crime. In particular, Wawan jobs in downtown and all over the city, the Skyway Marina District is a huge focus for us. And in South St. Petersburg in general, on 22nd Street, we have some tremendous opportunities, but we need to bring those home. Having an EDC and working to create that EDC, which we started, watching how well it works in Tampa in conjunction with the mayor's efforts. We need to have that here, and we're working on that here so that we can really bring the businesses and grow the businesses here that are going to create the great paying jobs that we need in this community.